Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another thrilling journey into the world of rare coins. Today, we uncover the fascinating story of the Kennedy half dollar, one of the most iconic coins in American history. From 1972 to 1974 and even into 1989, each year carries its own secrets, its own history, and the potential for surprising value. These coins are more than just 50 cents, they are symbols of honor, remembrance, and collectible treasures that could be worth far more than you imagine. Stay with me, because what you're about to discover might change the way you look at these coins forever. First, we turn our attention to a piece of American history that continues to capture the hearts of collectors worldwide, the 1972 Kennedy half dollar. This coin may look ordinary to the untrained eye, but hidden within its story is a tale of national pride, historical tribute, and the potential for remarkable value. The Kennedy half dollar series began in 1964, struck just months after the tragic assassination of President John F. Kennedy. The nation was grieving, and the government sought to honor his legacy in a way that every American could hold in their hands. Thus, the Kennedy half dollar was born, symbolizing not only currency but also remembrance. By 1972, the United States Mint was still producing this coin with great enthusiasm. Millions were struck at the Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco mints. But here's where it gets interesting. Despite high production numbers, not every coin was created equal. Certain pieces stand out due to their condition, mint mark, and striking quality, transforming them from pocket change into treasures worth thousands. The 1972 Kennedy half dollar carries unique charm because it was part of a decade of experimentation in U.S. coinage. After the removal of silver from circulation in 1971, the 1972 half dollars were struck in a copper-nickel composition. Collectors saw this as the beginning of a new chapter, making coins from this year historically significant. But what truly makes the 1972 Kennedy half dollar valuable today is not just its composition, but its rarity and pristine condition. Coins that have survived the test of time without scratches, bag marks, or work can command enormous premiums at auction. Collectors are constantly hunting for these near-perfect examples. Some 1972 Kennedy half dollars are worth far more than face value because of their grading. A coin graded mint state 67 or higher by leading grading services can fetch prices ranging from hundreds to several $1,000s. The combination of eye appeal, sharp strike, and historical demand pushes these coins into a different league. Adding to the excitement, certain varieties and error coins from 1972 have shocked the market. Misstrikes, double dies, and other minting anomalies make these coins highly desirable. When rarity meets demand, the value skyrockets, and collectors are willing to pay handsomely to secure them. Imagine finding a 1972 Kennedy half dollar sitting unnoticed in a collection or even tucked away in a drawer. To most people, it's just 50 cents, but to a serious collector, it could be a treasure worth $1,000, $5,000, or even more, depending on its grade and condition. Auction houses have seen stunning sales where exceptional 1972 Kennedy half dollars shattered expectations. One pristine example can change hands for a life-changing amount, proving once again that what seems ordinary can in fact be extraordinary. The beauty of coin collecting is that it allows history to live on through tangible artifacts. The 1972 Kennedy half dollar represents not only the memory of a beloved president but also the spirit of an era when America was shifting its coinage and economy. Owning one is like holding a piece of that transition. Collectors from all over the world seek out the 1972 issue because it bridges the gap between the silver era of the 1960s and the copper-nickel age that followed. It is a cornerstone of any Kennedy collection and continues to gain recognition as time passes. What makes this coin even more exciting is its accessibility. Many collectors start with Kennedy half dollars because they are iconic, beautiful, and rich in history. Yet, among these coins lies the chance of discovering a piece that can bring in thousands of dollars. That thrill of the hunt keeps this series alive in the hearts of both new and veteran collectors. So, is the 1972 Kennedy half dollar truly valuable? The answer is a resounding yes. In ordinary condition, it may be common, but in extraordinary condition, it is a prize that commands respect in the numismatic world. And when you combine rarity with historical significance, you have a coin that is destined to rise in value. The maximum value of a 1972 Kennedy half dollar in top condition has reached well over $5,000 at auction, with the potential for even higher prices when collectors compete for the finest known examples. Every year, as fewer pristine coins remain, their desirability only grows stronger. If you're holding on to a 1972 Kennedy half dollar, take a closer look. Examine its condition, check for errors, and consider having it graded. You may be surprised to discover that what you thought was pocket change is in fact a treasure hiding in plain sight. And for those who don't yet own one, now is the time to begin your search. Adding this coin to your collection not only strengthens your portfolio but also connects you to a powerful story of history, remembrance, and value. The Kennedy half dollar is more than money. It is a tribute to a leader, a reflection of a nation, and a gateway to opportunity for collectors. The 1972 issue stands tall as one of the most rewarding discoveries you can make. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you come across a 1972 Kennedy half dollar, don't dismiss it. Hold it with care, cherish it, and remember that it could be your key to an incredible payday. Coins like this remind us why numismatics is not just a hobby, it is a treasure hunt filled with possibilities. And as you continue your journey into coin collecting, never forget, the next great find could be sitting in your very hands. The 1972 Kennedy half dollar is living proof that history and fortune often meet in the palm of your hand. We turn our attention to one of the most sought-after treasures in modern American numismatics, the 1973 Kennedy half dollar. At first glance, it may look like just another 50-cent piece, but once you know its story, you'll understand why collectors are willing to pay thousands of dollars for the right one. The Kennedy half dollar was introduced in 1964 as a tribute to President John F. Kennedy after his tragic assassination. Americans immediately embraced the design, and it quickly became one of the most beloved coins in U.S. history. By 1973, the series was already well established, but that year brought unique circumstances that would make the 1973 issue highly desirable. Unlike most coins of the era, the 1973 Kennedy half dollar was not released into general circulation. Instead, it was struck primarily for collectors and included in special mint sets and proof sets. That means fewer coins were ever produced compared to other years, automatically making it more limited in supply. Collectors today prize the 1973 Kennedy half dollar because of this rarity. While millions of half dollars were made in earlier years, the 1973 mintage numbers are significantly lower, creating a situation where demand far outweighs availability. Scarcity is always the fuel that drives value higher. The Philadelphia Mint, the Denver Mint, and the San Francisco Mint all struck Kennedy half dollars in 1973, but each carried its own appeal. The San Francisco proof coins, in particular, are considered gems when preserved in flawless condition, and some of these can reach jaw-dropping auction prices. One of the most fascinating aspects of the 1973 Kennedy half dollar is its condition rarity. While you might find average examples fairly easily, finding a coin in pristine, untouched mint state or proof 70 condition is a challenge. These coins are incredibly rare, and when they appear at auction, collectors compete fiercely to secure them. When it comes to value, the numbers tell a powerful story. In top-graded condition, a 1973 Kennedy half dollar has been known to sell for several $1,000s. Some examples graded at the highest levels have fetched prices in the range of $5,000 to $10,000, proving that this coin is far from ordinary. Imagine holding a coin that most people would consider worth only 50 cents, yet in reality, it has the power to transform into thousands of dollars in the right setting. That is the magic of numismatics, and that is exactly what the 1973 Kennedy half dollar represents. Collectors love this coin not only for its rarity but also for its beauty. The obverse features Gilroy Roberts' classic portrait of John F. Kennedy, while the reverse showcases Frank Gasparo's majestic presidential seal. Together, these designs remind us of a turning point in American history and add artistic value to the coin's monetary worth. The year 1973 is particularly important because it falls right in the middle of the copper-nickel era of U.S. coinage. By this point, silver had been removed from regular production coins, making the Kennedy half dollar a purely collectible item rather than a circulating workhorse. This adds another layer of intrigue to its story. Auction records confirm the strength of this coin in the market. Collectors from all over the world are willing to bid aggressively when a top-quality 1973 Kennedy half dollar appears for sale. The competition drives the price higher and higher, creating moments where a coin once worth 50 cents sells for more than a used car. The thrill of finding such a treasure is what keeps collectors searching. And make no mistake, if you have a 1973 Kennedy half dollar, you might be holding on to a small fortune without even realizing it. That's why it's so important to check condition, grading, and possible varieties carefully. Numismatics is not just about money, it's about history, legacy, and discovery. With the 1973 Kennedy half dollar, you get all of that in a single coin. You get the tribute to a fallen president, the artistry of American coin design, and the chance at serious value. If you're building a collection, the 1973 issue is a must-have. It bridges the gap between the early years of Kennedy half dollars and the later decades when the series became a true collector's staple. Its limited mintage ensures that it will only become more desirable as time goes on. So, is the 1973 Kennedy half dollar truly valuable? The answer is yes, absolutely. Not only does it carry historical significance, but it has also proven itself in the marketplace time and again. And as collectors continue to chase perfection, the maximum value of this coin has already reached well over $10,000 in some cases. Think about that for a moment. A coin with a face value of 50 cents, struck less than 55 years ago, now commanding thousands of dollars in the right condition. That is the power of rarity and demand combined. Ladies and gentlemen, if you come across a 1973 Kennedy half dollar, do not overlook it. Treat it with the respect it deserves, because it may be one of the most valuable coins you will ever hold in your hands. And remember, the world of coins is filled with stories like this, stories of ordinary change transforming into extraordinary fortune. The 1973 Kennedy half dollar is living proof that history and value often go hand in hand. Now we uncover the hidden power of the 1974 Kennedy half dollar, one of the most remarkable issues of the series and a coin that continues to surprise collectors with its history, beauty, and impressive market value. The Kennedy half dollar had already become a national icon by the time the 1974 issue was struck. First introduced in 1964 as a tribute to President John F. Kennedy, the coin carried with it the emotion of a grieving nation. By 1974, a full decade had passed since that tragic event, but the coin still held deep meaning for Americans everywhere. The year 1974 was unique for the Kennedy half dollar because it marked one of the last high-production years before significant changes began to shape U.S. coinage. At this point, the mint was striking half dollars in a copper-nickel composition, and millions were released. But as collectors know, not all coins are equal, and some from 1974 stand out as highly valuable treasures. One of the most extraordinary reasons the 1974 Kennedy half dollar is famous is because of its rare varieties and errors. The most notable of these is the 1974 D double die obverse, a stunning minting error that dramatically increases a coin's worth. This variety is legendary among collectors and is sold for astonishing prices at auction. Even without errors, the 1974 Kennedy half dollar can command incredible value in pristine condition. Coins graded at the highest levels, mint state 67 and above, are exceptionally difficult to find. Their sharp details, flawless surfaces, and glowing luster make them irresistible to collectors. And when these coins hit the market, the competition is fierce. In fact, some 1974 Kennedy half dollars in top grades have sold for thousands of dollars. Auction records show examples selling for $5,000, $7,000, and even more in certain cases. For a coin with a face value of just 50 cents, that kind of leap in value is nothing short of extraordinary. The beauty of this coin lies not only in its rarity but also in its design. Gilroy Roberts' portrait of John F. Kennedy on the obverse continues to inspire admiration, while Frank Gasparo's presidential seal on the reverse symbolizes the strength and dignity of the nation. In 1974, these designs were still crisp and bold, making the coin a visual masterpiece. What makes this story even more fascinating is that the 1974 Kennedy half dollar was widely circulated. This means that most coins from this year were handled, exchanged, and eventually worn down. Finding an untouched, flawless example today is like searching for a diamond in the rough, which is why collectors are willing to pay top dollar. The excitement doesn't stop there. Proof versions of the 1974 Kennedy half dollar, struck at the San Francisco Mint, add another layer of desirability. With their mirror-like surfaces and razor-sharp details, these proofs in perfect condition have also commanded breathtaking prices. The key to unlocking the full potential of a 1974 Kennedy half dollar is condition and rarity. A circulated coin might seem ordinary, but in pristine mint state or as a recognized error variety, the same coin transforms into a prize worth thousands. That's why collectors carefully examine every detail, hoping to discover one of these hidden gems. For many, the thrill lies in the possibility that a coin sitting in a collection, inherited from a family member, or even tucked away in a jar could actually be worth far more than its face value. Imagine the excitement of learning that your 50-cent piece could sell for $10,000 or more. That's not a dream, it's a reality that has already happened for others. The 1974 Kennedy half dollar also represents a turning point in U.S. history. America was preparing for the bicentennial celebration just 2 years later in 1976, and coins of the mid-1970s carry the anticipation of that historic moment. In many ways, The 1974 issue stands as a bridge between everyday coinage and the commemorative era that followed. Collectors view the 1974 Kennedy half-dollar as essential for any serious collection. Its variety of mint marks, its proof strikes, and its legendary double-die variety make it a cornerstone coin. As time passes, its importance only grows stronger, and its value continues to climb. So, is the 1974 Kennedy half-dollar valuable? The answer is absolutely yes. In fact, some of the highest-graded examples and rare varieties have reached maximum values well beyond $10,000 at auction. For a coin that started as simple pocket change, it has risen to the level of true numismatic treasure. Ladies and gentlemen, the message is clear. If you own a 1974 Kennedy half-dollar, don't underestimate it. Take the time to examine it carefully, consider grading, and you may discover that you are holding something worth a small fortune. The world of coins is filled with surprises, and the 1974 Kennedy half-dollar is one of the greatest examples. It reminds us that history, beauty, and value can all come together in the palm of your hand. And as you continue your journey through numismatics, never forget, the next great discovery could be waiting in your very own collection. The 1974 Kennedy half-dollar has already changed the lives of collectors, and it just might change yours too. Now our focus turns to the 1989 Kennedy half-dollar, a coin that many people might overlook as ordinary, but in truth, it carries hidden strength and surprising potential. The Kennedy half-dollar was created in 1964 as a tribute to President John F. Kennedy, and it immediately became a national favorite. But what makes the 1989 issue stand out is not just its design, but the time period it represents. America was stepping into the final years of the Cold War, technology was reshaping the nation, and change was everywhere. The coin minted in that year is a snapshot of that moment in history. The 1989 Kennedy half-dollar was struck in copper nickel, but that does not make it less significant. In fact, it adds to its importance. By this point, silver was long gone from regular issues, so finding a half-dollar from this era in pristine, untouched condition is much harder than people realize. Most 1989 Kennedy half-dollars went directly into circulation. They were used in casinos, banks, and transactions, which means that most surviving examples today are scratched, worn, or heavily marked. That is why a coin in superb mint state condition stands out like a shining star. It is something collectors are willing to pay big money for. And then there are the proofs. Struck at the San Francisco Mint, proof 1989 Kennedy half-dollars were made with special care, mirror-like finishes, and razor-sharp details. These coins, when preserved in perfect proof 70 condition, have become collector favorites and can command prices that shock newcomers to the hobby. The key to the 1989 Kennedy half-dollar's value is condition rarity. While millions were produced, only a tiny fraction exists today in the highest possible grades. Grading services have certified very few examples at the MS-67 or MS-68 level, which makes those coins extremely desirable. Auction results tell the story clearly. When a flawless or near-flawless 1989 Kennedy half-dollar appears on the market, bidding wars break out. Collectors recognize just how tough it is to find, and the price climbs higher and higher. Some of these coins have already brought in more than $5,000 at auction. Think about that for a moment. 50 cents transformed into thousands of dollars simply because the coin survived in perfect condition. That is the magic of numismatics, and that is why the 1989 Kennedy half-dollar is so thrilling for collectors. But beyond money, there is history. The coin carries Gilroy Roberts' timeless portrait of John F. Kennedy on the obverse, a symbol of leadership, hope, and change. On the reverse, Frank Gasparo's presidential seal reinforces the strength of America at a pivotal point in time. Together, the design speaks of honor, legacy, and power. What makes this coin even more fascinating is its role as a modern rarity. So often, people believe that only old coins can be valuable. The 1989 Kennedy half-dollar proves otherwise. It shows that even in recent decades, treasures can emerge, and fortunes can be made. Collectors love to chase this coin because it bridges the past and the future. It honors Kennedy's memory, connects to America's history of the 1980s, and leads us into the modern collecting world of the 1990s and beyond. For that reason alone, it is a must-have piece for any serious collection. And here's the truth. Most people who own a 1989 Kennedy half-dollar don't realize what they have. A coin tucked away in a jar, hidden in a drawer, or sitting forgotten in a collection might actually be worth a small fortune. That is why every collector examines each one carefully. The question remains, is the 1989 Kennedy half-dollar valuable? Without a doubt, yes. Its rarity and high grade, its proof versions, and its powerful story make it one of the standout issues of the late 20th century. The maximum value of this coin has already gone beyond $5,000, with the potential for even higher results as top-graded examples become scarcer. Every passing year reduces the number of untouched survivors, which means the coins that remain only grow more valuable. Ladies and gentlemen, the 1989 Kennedy half-dollar is not just another coin, it is a symbol of history, a treasure of modern numismatics, and a chance at incredible profit. Treat it with respect, because what looks like pocket change today could become your golden opportunity tomorrow. So, if you have one, look at it closely. If you don't, begin the search. Because this coin has already proven itself to be far more than 50 cents, it is a collectible powerhouse, a piece of legacy, and a potential life-changer for those lucky enough to own the right one. And remember, in the world of coins, the next great discovery could be sitting right in your hands. The 1989 Kennedy half-dollar is living proof that true value can be hiding in plain sight.